Hello and welcome to this section. In this section, we will learn from the actual combat. We learned the principle of relative positioning in the last lesson. That is not to say much. Let's directly open the editor and directly select our default web app applet. Enter the name of the application and click to create the relative positioning. In this way, we have completed the first step of creating a relative positioning environment. Then we can see an effect we are about to do. Generally speaking, the birth of an application is that the product manager first draws a prototype drawing, and then the design goes out of the design drawing. When we make an application, we directly make a production against such a design drawing. In this lesson, let's make the UI of the shopping cart industry. First, let's observe that this is a small program environment. For the small program, the content on the upper side is brought by the mobile phone, that is, the small program side will come by itself. Therefore, the content we do starts from here, and the lower area is a navigation industry container, which doesn't need us to make additional content. Therefore, in fact, the area we teach and make is a part of Jomsa, so we can make such a part of Jomsa. Then, in order to make it convenient for us to have a view, I give it the content in the middle. First of all, we should form a good habit of not allowing our widget to run naked under the front end. First, we should add a page under the front end and change the name of the page to the shopping cart page. Then, we should first make the content of the top area. The top area is an icon, a convenience store, a bar and a C classroom. Then, there is such an arrow on the right side as a whole. How is the picture text and the arrow on the right arranged? It is arranged horizontally, so we directly in the shopping cart industry. We first add such a line, and then we go to the blue lake. Let's take a look at the size and width of such a line. Let's choose a height of 40 pixels. Okay, we change the height of such a line widget to 40 pixels, and then we come to the picture. The picture is 24 pixels multiplied by 24 pixels, which is a bitmap. So we can choose a picture at will, and we can choose a picture at will. Here we can choose a picture at will, and then change it to 24 pixels. Then, there are 8 items of data on it, and there are 12 items on the left, so we select such a picture, and the outer margin is modified to 8 items, and the left outer margin is modified to 12 items, and then there is such a text. We select such a text, and its font size is number 14, and then there is a bold, so we also add such a text in the industry, then change the font size to 14, then bold it for a display, and then copy its contents for a paste. But here I found a trick, that is, when you look at such a picture text and such an icon on the right, is it all centered relative to such a line? So I suddenly changed my mind. I think we should change a value here to an effect in the middle, and then we clear the top and outside of the value here. In this way, all its text is displayed in the middle, and then there is an icon on the right. In fact, we have the icon widget, so say we add an icon widget directly here, then give it an arrow symbol on the right, and set its size slightly, which is about 10 pixels. Here's a question. How can I ensure that such an icon is always on the right? I believe some students have thought that we can use the left outer edge to top it. Here, if I set a left outer margin of 150 pixels, I put it in such a position. But if you want to think about a problem, a width on our side is automatic. In other words, according to a content of the text, it will have a dynamic change. For example, if there is a tsunami event breeding here, you can find that the tsunami is a location of the store. If there is a change, such an icon on the right side will make a playwright on this side. There is a dynamic change, so how can I let him always keep him on the right? Can we use an equal spacing effect? So let's select such an industry, change its level to an equal spacing effect. Let's empty such an icon on the left first, and we can find this like this. It has an equidistant effect, but such an equidistant effect is still a little different from ours. We hope that such a family icon on the left and the name of its convenience store are all located on the left. What should we do? Did we learn the so-called equal spacing in the previous lesson, that is, to make the elements of the same level equally spaced? Therefore, in such a case, we can pull another row widget, we can pull such an icon, and the text into the row widget, and then set its height and width as a package. In other words, whether it is a package to me or not is equivalent to a package to package our two widget together. And for such an industry, it is the same as our icon, and is the same level of widget, so when the space is equal, the two will be equally spaced together. Then, for such an icon, it is still 16 pixels away from the right, so we set its right outer margin to 16 pixels. Okay, then we'll finish making a content in the first row. Finally, we'll take a background color here. The background color here is white. We'll change a background color in the first row to a white, and then empty the background color of such an industry. First of all, it's a text. Let's take a look at the text content. The 12 pixel text is 12 font size. Let's add a text in line 2, and then change it to a 12. One of its background colors is white, so let's change the background color to a white, and then make a simple copy of its content. You can also write it by yourself, and then it must be in the middle from up to down. So for Han2, we directly go to the numerical value to modify it to be in the middle, and then there is an arrow inserted on the right side of it. Similarly, we can also use one of our icon widget. In one of the materials of the icon widget, we find such a plugin head, close the arrow, the color is white, and then the size should be about 15. We don't need to be particularly accurate. Now there is a new problem, that is, how can I make it such a layout? First of all, we need to be clear that this distance is a dynamic value. For example, if a word with 110 pixels is changed here, we can find that a width here will change dynamically. For example, if 10 pixels is changed here, the width here will also change. Therefore, similarly, we still can't use screenwriters to write such a word distance is dead, so what should we do? Here's another tip. In Hangzhou No. 2 Middle School, we also changed one of his levels into an equal spacing. But if you find one on the left and one on the right, how can we make him equal spacing? Did I tell you before that the so-called equal spacing is to make an equal spacing for all the peer widget in it? For example, let me add another text here. I drag it to the bottom, and then empty the content of the text. Is that right? Naturally, it has a 3-stage equal spacing. In order to ensure that its equal spacing is very good looking, the width of a text here is 15 pixels. We set the width of a text here to 15 pixels, and then there is a distance of about 7 pixels. Therefore, we also select it to give it a 7-pixel image, a right outer margin of the element. Similarly, for the text occupying the space on our side, we can directly add such a meteorological element to make it a 22-pixel. In this way, we can ensure that the content in our middle, no matter how we make a modification, it is an effect of a play. Then there is such a series of cards. Look at such a series of cards, will you make them next to each other? We can find that the style of each card is almost the same, and there is only a little difference. Therefore, can we select the most difficult card? After we make the most difficult card, let's hide such a part of the content. So let's add another line. For this line, we can directly change a name to distinguish it from the above content. This is called our shopping cart card. In fact, we can form a good habit. This industry can change a name to our store name, and then a horizontal 2 here can be changed to a name called distance line. Then we select such a shopping cart card, which is the first point. Why do I add a row widget here? Here I'll take you for an analysis. Let's select a card of the most complex shopping cart, and let's analyze it one by one. First, let's draw the largest container. The largest container is the current container, right? After drawing, you just know that you need to use such a large container to hold the contents, but we don't know whether it is a row or a column. Then we go to draw the second stroke. How do we draw this stroke? Remember, the picture below each stroke we draw must be the same width or height as the previous stroke before we can draw the next stroke. You see, if I want to draw such a content here, I must make sure that my width or height is consistent with that of our previous container, and whether such a widget can be consistent with that of our external container, and then we can draw such a pen again, and you can also draw such a pen. It's a picture, isn't it? It can be consistent with the height of a card in a shopping cart like ours. Then I'm going to draw the next stroke. Can I draw the next stroke like this? You can't draw like this. Why? Because it actually has a very big problem with our last stroke. Look, if I draw such a large box, is it the same height as the picture we drew last time? Different. Is it the same height as our outermost container? Inequality. So we can't draw such a widget. If you do this, you will find that no matter how you carry out a layout in the back, you can't successfully lay it out. So let's continue to draw down, and we continue to drag down. In this way, you can see if my height is exactly the same as our previous height one is drawn. Then I continue to draw along such a width. Can I draw such a text, and then draw another stroke, so that we can also draw a price on the left and an additional symbol on the right? Then I can draw the following pen, including a boutique, and such a content on the back. Therefore, we must pay attention to that each stroke I drew is completely consistent with my last one, either in width or height. Then, after drawing, we save such a picture here, and we will carry out an analysis in turn from outside to inside. How are the three such containers arranged? It is a horizontal layout, so for our shopping cart card, it is a horizontal layout, so I built a row here, and then we can add the first part in the row, that is, such a widget is such an icon, and we can directly choose a similar icon to replace it. This okay, although the icon is slightly different from this check, I think it can be reluctantly accepted. Let's take a look at the size of the icon 20 pixels and 20 pixels. Let's take this 2020, and then there is a picture of such an activity. Let's upload a picture of the station to indicate that the size of the picture is 64 pixels multiplied by 64 pixels. Let's take it this width is set to 64. We need to give it a little background color. This is our picture. Then we can see that there is a distance of 12 pixels between the picture and our checkbox. Therefore, the left outer margin here can be set to 12 pixels, and then go to the right. What container is a large box on the right? Take a look. In the large box, it contains a text on the top, a shopping option on the middle side, and a gift on the lower side. On the whole, it is vertically arranged, right? So for the shopping cart, the next third box is a column, so let's add another column here. Let's select such a column, one column, and we'll do it from top to bottom. First of all, the top one just mixes nuts every day. What is this? This is a text, right? So let's add a text first. Let's set the text style. Its font size is 14 and its color is 33. Then it has a bold effect, and then copy its content slightly. Then, the price is on the lower left, and then our check is on the right. What are the price on the left and the check on the right? It is a horizontal layout, so next we select such a column to add a row widget again and again. For a height here, we can directly select it as a package, and then the numerical alignment is selected as a middle alignment, and then add a text widget in it. We can see the size of such text widget, 16-point font, and then font the colors like this. Select such a line, and then a number 16 font color is displayed here. Then copy one of its contents, and then display it in bold. Then on the right is an addition and subtraction symbol, and in the middle is a text. Here we can also make a production, or in one of our icon widget, we will find such an addition and subtraction. Yes, there is a round frame here, and then they copy and paste a copy, and then an original frame. Then, one size of the two icons is 24 pixels and 24 pixels. We can select more of them and change its width and height to 24 and 24. Then, in the middle, it's a text. We can look at the style of the text. From number 16 to number 33, let's pull a text in the middle, write a bar here, and then number 16 word 1 2 3 4 5 6. But here we can notice that 1 is 1. If it occupies such a size 2, the size it occupies must be different from that of 12. What should we do to prevent the whole icon from changing dynamically? We can predict a certain width for him first. For example, here we give him a width between two buttons, which has a 42 pixel. Therefore, we set the width to a 42, and then select an effect centered here. In this way, the content in this is an appropriate effect no matter what we say. Next, we can see that one of its prices is on the left, and the whole on the right is on the right. Have we just learned this technique? Similarly, we should first pull out a line, drag all the contents on the right into the line, and then select all the width and height of the line as packages, and then we select one of its sub-containers, make this line, and the price on our left have an equidistant layout, and then change it to an equidistant one at the level here. We have done a good job in addition and subtraction. Next is a gift, and what does a mixed nut prove? In fact, it is a text. As a whole, it is a horizontal layout, so we should pull a line out, and then first pull our first text widget, and then the content of this text widget is a gift. Then we can take a series of its property, and the color is the font size is 11, and if the font size is 11, we temporarily set it to 12. The font size below 12 can only be seen on the mobile phone. We simulate it on the computer. Let's write it as 12, and then it has a border. Let's change the width of one border to 1, and then change the color of the border. Then let's compare it. We can find that it is too tight and crowded. What's the matter? What shall we do? We need to set a little bit of the distance between the other side and the other side. We give him a binomial number for the distance between the other side and the other side. It seems more reasonable. Let's take a look at the color of its background. Its gift has a background. The background color of the color is such a color. Let's set its background color FFF210 has written the name of such a gift. Similarly, we can do such a content of Wang's eye in the back. It is 12 characters, and it is also 12 characters. Let's copy and paste a copy, and then empty its unrelated property, and then copy its content, and then copy the color of a font, and then the background the color is formed, and then there is a distance of 4 pixels between the gift and it, so let's set the right outer margin of the genuine product to 4 pixels, and then finally we change such a height to a package, and the value to a center, so that our whole block has been made, and then we will beautify it. Next, let's look at the card. Distance. The content on our right has a distance of 12 pixels, so we can set the right outer margin to 12 for the picture. Then let's take a look. Oh, I suddenly found that such a text also has 16 pixels, which is exactly the same as the 16 pixels here. Therefore, for us, should we directly set an internal screenwriter for the shopping cart card? In the same way, we'll cancel a screenwriter here first, and then subtract such a 16 from a screenwriter, leaving a 22. Next, let's take a look at the 8-pixel content under such a text sentence, so we select this text to give him a lower outer screenwriter as an 8-item number. Similarly, we are selecting such a text, which is also 12 pixels away from our gifts. Therefore, we are selecting such an industry, and its lower outer margin is set to 12. It can be found that the height here has not changed. In fact, the height here should change with the content here, because you can think about it. That is, if there is no effect of a gift here, should it subtract this part? If there is a gift, the height of the gift should also be changed with the display of the word size of the gift. So we choose a package as the height of this side, and then we should choose a package property as the column of the same side. Okay, then let's take a final look. There is a 16 pixel on the lower edge. It's still very simple. We only have a shopping cart, and we can set the lower screenwriter of the card to 16 pixels. Finally, we can clear all the background colors of these series. Here, we can make a multi-choice directly. Here, we can make a multi-choice directly select a content of such a series and clear its background. Oh, it is not selected here. We also select line 1 and line 2 below separately to clear it. Okay, let's finally check why the icon is missing. Let's see why the icon is missing. The upper side is 22 and the lower side is 16. At this time, the lower side goes. Cancel the upper side. This tick doesn't seem obvious. Let's change an icon. Anyway, it's just a placeholder icon. Let's pull such a round box to tick it out, so that we can make a shopping cart card. Let's select such a shopping cart card, copy it with Ctrl+A, paste it under the shopping cart, and paste a copy. Let's compare it. The first one has no gifts, so I select such a gift. Okay, I'll hide it. It can be found that when I hide, a UI in this part is indeed missing, which dynamically helps me shrink. Okay, next is our invalid goods and our empty invalid goods. This is actually a commonplace, which is obviously the effect of a three-stage layout. Let's take a look at its size here. The height is 32 pixels. Here we add a line widget with the height of 32 pixels. Then on the left is a text widget, which indicates our invalid products and one. Let's copy this content. Then one of its font sizes is 12, and the color is 99. Then on the right is an icon plus an empty invalid item. If we want to use the icon, we still need to use one of our icon widget. We need a deleted icon here, and then I guess the color is also 99. Let's take a look at the size. The size is 14 pixels, and then the right side is to empty the invalid goods. Let's copy and paste it directly. This is the effect of our empty goods. As a whole, the vertical direction of the goods is a value-centered pair chi, then there is a certain distance between the two contents on the right. Let's take a look at the play. How many pixels are there? 5 pixels. Here, give him some screenwriters. 5 pixels outside the left. Okay, then all the contents on the right should be on the right, and all the contents on the left should be based on the left. I believe you are very familiar with this. Let's pull out a line, drag the two contents into the line, set the width and height of the line as a package, and then set the overall industry as a whole, and the external industry as a whole 2 levels, equal spacing is okay. Next, let's take a look at it. It has 16 pixels. Therefore, we select such an industry, and give it a left inner margin of 16, and a right inner margin of 16. Okay, then finally, let's take a look at this color, copy and paste this color into it. Okay, the color of an industry on the side of light industrial commodities will be cleared. Okay, such a failed commodity will appear, and then the UI of the failed commodity is almost exactly the same as that on our side. It is blocked here, but I can tell you in advance that the blocked content here is the word failure, which is equivalent to the content here has been changed to invalid. So let's pull a shopping cart. The card here is called invalid. Okay, let's change the name first, and then copy and paste a shopping cart card. This is called invalid shopping cart card. Then in the invalid shopping cart, it does not have such an effect. For the picture, the crew needs to add such 20 pixels, so the screenwriter outside the crew is 32 pixels. Such an industry is 49 pixels. Change its height to 49 pixels. In fact, we can take the background color together. This is such a background color. Then, first of all, there is such a checked button, that is, the checked button. Let's directly copy and paste it here. It seems that this button has only a little upper and outer head count. Monitor it first. Then there is a text, the text is select all, unselect all text, number 14 word 333, and then to the right is a text with number 18 word, and then there is an acceleration effect. Change it to a number 18 word, and then make it bold. Let's copy its content, and let's set it uniformly. The screenwriter, the crew here is 12 pixels, and how many are the crew here? The crew here is 20 pixels, so the play here is 12 pixels, the play here is 20 pixels, and then there is still a button, which is such a button for settlement. Similarly, we add another button under the text, and then let's take a look at this button. The width and height are 36 of 96, and the font inside is 14. The font sizes of 96/36 are 16. Then the content of the text is settled in brackets 5. We copy its color. The color is such a color, and its border fillet is 2 pixels. Okay, change the background color. The border fillet is 2 pixels. The word here is wrong. Here should be settlement. Next, select such a row. What is the overall vertical layout? Is the vertical layout centered and then aligned horizontally? It is evenly spaced, and then the 3 are integrated, so we add a row widget, and then drag all the 3 on the left into our row group, and then select its height and width as packages, and clear the background color. I see that there are 12 items in its crew, so we are sending an inner side of our industry. The distance is 12 items. Okay, then this is our settlement. Okay, then let's take a look at the overall effect. I found several problems. First of all, you can find that the family convenience store seems not to be in the middle. Why not? This is because, for such a large store name and such a line, the line 1 in it is indeed centered with our icon. For our industry, the numerical alignment here is still significantly at the top, so we should change it to a centering effect here to ensure that it is also centered in such a part of us. In the same way, we should also choose a middle effect here, but because the font size here is completely the same, it is no problem not to choose here, but the industry here should also choose a middle effect. Yes, let's see if we haven't noticed any details. For example, we nested a part this week. You see, there is no alignment here. It is all from the top with the industry here, so we should also choose the effect of numerical alignment as a center. Therefore, we should also pay attention here. If you use a local effect in a certain place, so a packaged effect is formed, it will all become a whole. For an internal positioning environment, we still need to set it. Okay, then let's think about another question. I believe students with eyes have responded. So far, we have seen such an interface in the environment of iPhone 6. If people are iPhone X phones, why should the settlement button be at the bottom, right? In this way, our teacher shop and such a distance should always be at the top, right? So on the whole, do we need to use our most classic 3-stage layout method? How can we make a simple modification? We add such a column under the shopping cart page, and then this column is our middle area. At least it should be dragged below the final account line, and then we buy it from one here. Drag all the contents from the cart to the invalid shopping cart, and then empty the background color of such a column. What should be its height? That's right, it's just to open it, that is, how much content is left in it, and then change one of its cutting methods to a y-axis scroll. In this way, even in a very small mobile phone, the middle area can scroll, so that our settlement button is always located in the bottom right corner. Okay, let's preview the effect. The overall effect is very good. The above is the whole content of this section. Thank you for watching this video.